So today we're going to start talking about parallel and perpendicular lines. So as a warm-up, rewrite these two equations into slope-intercept form. So you want to start here again by distributing in your slope. So we'll get 2x plus 12, add 5 to both sides, and you'll get y equals 2x plus 17 as your equation. Next one, distribute it in. Y plus 7 equals negative a half x minus 4. Subtract 7. Y equals negative a half x minus 11. All right, so a quick review here. We have slope-intercept form and we have point-slope form. So here, m is your slope in both of them. Here, b is your y-intercept. So when your x is 0, your y is b. It's this point. And then here, your x1, y1 is any point on your line. So your x1, y1. So parallel lines. Parallel lines are lines that never cross. So they look like this. They're never going to run into each other. They never cross. The symbol for them is actually just two lines like that. So two lines are parallel if their slopes are the same, but their y-intercepts are different. Because if they have the same slope and the same y-intercept, they'd be the exact same line. So they have to be different. All right, so we want to decide here, are these lines parallel or not? So we're trying to decide, are the slopes the same, but the y-intercept's different? So for this first one, we're looking at this, and they're almost the same except for this negative. So this would be not parallel because the slopes are not the same. Here we have slopes are the same. That worked. Here's our y-intercepts. So y-intercepts are different. That worked. So these are parallel. Look at this next one here. Again, we have a negative, but they're also flipped. We have 5/3 and 3/5. This would not be parallel because the slopes are not the same. All right, so then perpendicular lines. Perpendicular lines intersect if they cross and make a 90-degree angle. So they're gonna be something like this, where you get like a nice square angle right there. You can tell if two lines are perpendicular from their equations. So if their slopes are opposite reciprocals. So what that means, opposite here would be make negative or make the opposite sign. And then reciprocal means you want to flip your slope. So we'll go through some examples. But here, if we have 2/3, if we're going to make it opposite, we want to make that negative. And then the reciprocal part is we're going to flip and get 3/2. So your flipped is the reciprocal, opposite is changing the sign. So here, if we write this, we have -4/1. You want to flip it to get 1/4 for the reciprocal part, and then the opposite is making it positive. For 5/-7, we'll get, -7/5, we'll flip it and get 5/7 and then make it positive. So try these next three on your own, and then we'll talk about them. Okay, so we'll flip and get 2/5. You'll get -1/5, and here you get -3/11. So now we need to decide again, are these perpendicular? So we're looking for opposite reciprocals. So you need to flip it and change the sign. So we look at this one first. We have 2/3 and 3/2. It's flipped, but it's not opposite. We didn't switch the sign. So this is not opposite. So not parallel or perpendicular. As a note, this symbol means perpendicular, so I'm going to start writing that because it's a lot faster. So now we're looking at our slopes here. We have 4 and -1/4. We flipped it. That worked. and one's negative and one's positive, so that works. This would be yes, perpendicular. Now looking here, we have 5 halves and 5 halves. One's negative, one's positive, so they're different signs, but they aren't reciprocals. So not reciprocals. So this would be not perpendicular. Okay. So here we want to write the equation of a parallel line. So remember, parallel lines means your slope is the same and needs to go through the point 110. It doesn't tell us how to write it, so we could write this in point slope form. We could write this in y equals mx. It says slope intercept. So we want to write this in slope intercept form. So first step, we want to find our slope. It's going to be the same as this one, so 2. And then I'm going to start by writing this in point slope and then solve. You could also write it out, plug in your point and solve for b. It doesn't matter. So here's our x1, y1. We'll have y minus 10 equals 2 times x minus 1. Distribute this in. We get 2x minus 2, y minus 10. Add 10, y equals 2x plus 8. So same slope. Here we have 2 and 2, but then your y-intercepts are different. We have negative 7 and positive 8, so they are parallel. All right, so we want to write an equation in slope-intercept form. So again, we need to pull out the slope, and then we have our point here. So slope is going to be the same because it's parallel. And then we have x1, y1, so x plus 4 equals negative a third times x minus 3. And then you can simplify, distribute this in. Y plus 4 equals negative a third x plus 1. Now you can subtract 4 from both sides. Y equals negative a third x minus 3. And there you are. So now you guys try this one, and then you'll have time for homework. All right, so here's your slope. Here's your x1, y1. And this one doesn't say how to write it. It just says write in line. So you could leave it in point slope form, or you could solve for slope intercept. So we'll have y minus 1 equals 5/4 times x plus 7. And since it doesn't say you need slope intercept, I'm just going to leave it like this. And that's it, just to make sure you're working on the 5.6.1 Math Excel.